keep in mind on this vote, you need a 2/3 majority, which is a pretty high threshold to reach. In other words, if all the Democrats were to vote to get rid of him, which seems a very good bet at this point, you would then need roughly in the ballpark, depending on how many people are present, how many people are voting one way or the other, about 80 Republicans to join with them to actually expel him. There was a degree of confidence you saw from some of the New York Republicans that have been calling for his ouster ahead of today. But we shall see how the House lands. It is notable that within the last hour or so, we have heard from Speaker Mike Johnson saying that he will not be voting to get rid of him. Also, another top Republican in the House, Elise Stefanik of New York. She's, of course, the top-ranking Republican from New York in the U.S. House. She also saying that she will be voting no on expelling him, citing concerns over precedent because he has not been convicted yet.
Kevin, you were there at 8 o'clock yesterday morning for that first press conference. You had another conversation later in the day with George Santos. How resigned is he to this?
He is pretty resigned to the fact that he could very well be kicked out. He's basically said to us that, look, I am at peace with this. I'm not losing sleep over the fact that I could be expelled today. This is going to be tighter than some of the earlier predictions that we saw from Congressman, for example, Nick LaLota the other day, who suggested there could be 150 Republicans. He's since walked that back a little bit, and you can see it's tighter. One can imagine that part of the reason, and this maybe gave a little bit of cover to some of those Republicans that were not sure how to vote, was when you saw leadership come out and say, yeah, I'm not going to be voting to get rid of him. But at this point, if these numbers hold, there's always a chance people could change their vote. That is also a possibility. But if these numbers hold, Santos will be now part of a very unique group of 6 individuals in history. Half of them fought for the Confederacy that have been expelled from Congress. How confident are you that Republicans can hold on to this seat?
I think they can hold on to the seat. So this is the thing. In New York, the Nassau County organization is probably one of the strongest, not only in New York, but in the country. They flipped everything from not just the congressional seats, but the county executive, county legislature, county district attorney. I think that in a special election, certainly, they can hold on.
What do you make about the 100-some-odd Republicans that voted to keep him here, including members of House leadership, Elise Stefanik, top Republican in the House? From New York, I should say.
Well, I think that they were playing politics. I mean, there's going to be a competitive special election, but they've not been able to function with the numbers that they have.
You are in charge of the Queen's Democratic Party. You have a say in who becomes the next candidate here in this special. How is that process going to work? Have you already made up your mind?
No, we're going to have an open process. Fact of the matter is, I intend on leaving here now, head to New York and have a meeting with Jay Jacobs, the head of the Nassau County Democratic Party.
Kevin's back with us now. Kevin, tell me about that moment when George Santos emerged. It all took place in the space of about a minute after this vote came in.
Yeah, we kind of speculated he would be going out the way he did in some sense because there was actually a car that we saw from yesterday that he had pulled up in, I believe it's a Jaguar, to this, the 8 a.m. press conference, always wanting to make an entrance. That car was stalling with one of his aides inside, and so it was pretty clear that he would be heading in that direction. There was a throng of people, as you saw, around him, horde-like, coming down the House steps as he made his potentially last exit from the House ever, it seems, and did not answer questions, was basically relying on the police and his aides to push reporters and people out of the way as he made his way to that door to get into the car and then drive off. No questions answered, no real engagement. I will say, to his credit, he did follow through on something he did say just the other day, which is that he doesn't plan on talking after he was expelled, and he did hold up that at least for now. We now know at least one chapter how it is ending, which is him leaving off into the sunset when it comes to his time in Congress, but there is still this next chapter that remains to be written, which is, of course, that trial that is still coming. He says he will not be taking a plea deal, and quite frankly, as one lawmaker put it to me the other day, if he had a brain in his head, he would have used resigning as part of a plea deal. That now is no longer an option for him, and so he's facing the potential of jail time, which he told me, wouldn't you be concerned about going to jail?